Chapter 4. Physical Features of India. India is one of the most beautiful countries of the world. It is the seventh largest country in the world. If we travel through India, we shall find that India has a variety of land surface. Some of the parts have mountains while some others are covered with plains. Some of its parts have rocky while others have sandy land. Thus the main physical features on the land are the mountains, plains, plateaus, deserts and islands. Now we will know more about these landforms, mountains and hills. Some parts of our country have high mountains. A mountain is a very high landmass with sloping sides. The top of a mountain is called its peak. In the north are the great Himalayan mountain ranges. The Himalayas is the highest mountain range in the world. There are many peaks in these mountains which are more than 8,000 meters high. Most of them remain covered with snow throughout the year. Mount Everest at 8,848 meters in Nepal, the world's highest mountain above sea level, is a part of this great range. A large number of rivers originate from the mountains in India. The Ganga, Yamuna, Brahmaputra and Indus rivers originate from the snow-covered Himalaya mountains. These rivers flow throughout the year. The central and the southern parts of India also have some mountains. These mountains are lower in height and are called the hills. The Vindhya and the Satpura mountain ranges are in the central part of India. The Nilgiri hills are in the southern India. These mountains and hills are not covered with snow. The northern plains. A large part of our country has flat and leveled land. These areas are called the plains. Towards the south of the Himalayas lies the northern plains of India. Many of the rivers that originate in the Himalayas flow through these plains, making the soil rich and fertile. These are suitable for producing a large variety of crops. That is why the northern plains are also called the food bowl of India. Cities like Allahabad, Varanasi and Kolkata are situated on the banks of these rivers. The climate of the northern plains is known for its hot summers and cold winters. The Great Indian Desert. A large area of land covered with sand is called a desert. The Indian Desert or the Thar Desert lies in the northwestern part of India. It is the largest desert in India and covers a large part of Rajasthan. This area is hot and dry with very little rainfall. Water is less and people staying there often need to walk a long distance to fetch water from deep wells. Since the soil is dry and water is hard to get, it is difficult to grow plants and trees in the desert. The island areas. The land which is surrounded on all sides by water is called an island. India has groups of islands on the eastern and western sides of the mainland. The Lakshadweep group of islands and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands are the two groups of islands of India. Lakshadweep lies in the Arabian Sea and Andaman and Nicobar in the Bay of Bengal. The southernmost part of India is in the Nicobar Islands. It is called the India Point. The Deccan Plateaus. The southern part of our country is triangular in shape. It is surrounded by seas and oceans on three sides. This type of land is called a peninsula. Most of the land surface in the Indian peninsula is either even or uneven. It is much higher than the surrounding plain areas. Such a land is called a plateau. The southernmost part of India is called the Deccan Plateau or the Southern Plateau. The Deccan Plateau is surrounded by hill ranges on all three sides. The land is very hard and rocky. The land is also less fertile than that of plains. Some parts of this plateau are covered with thick forests. The coastal plains. On the three sides, the Deccan Plateau slopes down to the coastal plains. A coastal plain is an area of flat, low-lying land adjacent to a seacoast. The eastern ghats and the western ghats separate the Deccan Plateau from the coastal plains, the eastern coastal plains and the western coastal plains. These two coastal plains meet at Kanyakumari in the south. The rivers Mahanadi, Narmada, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri and Tapti flow through these plains. They fall into the sea. So, The land of these coastal plains is very fertile. The coastal areas enjoy moderate climate which is neither too hot nor too cold. The climate of India. India is a vast country having different types of climate in its different parts. The northern mountains have cold climate almost throughout the year. In the plains, the summer season is hot and the winter season is cold. The rainfall is also not equally distributed. The coastal areas have almost the same type of climate throughout